Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken can take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars and the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Question in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live that loud, that break in the mind. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploded like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, their foes can't fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Well, good morning there, everyone, and welcome to Ken and Ken in the Morning with a special guest of Ralph Williams. How you doing today, buddy?
Good. I'm doing good, Ken. Thank you, as always, for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, absolutely. We love having you a part of the show.
I appreciate that as well. Thank you.
Oh, now that the preseason is over and we had our final preseason games, what did you think of the Steelers' last preseason game? And is there any player that's on the roster bubble that you would like to have on the team?
I think Lou Nichols, he did a really good job at running back. I don't know how many running backs they're going to carry yet. They may carry 4. They're going to have to because, see, here's the thing, Ken. Jaylen Warren, who was our third down back for the last few years, is now going to be the feature back. So my question is, can he handle all that pounding? I'm talking about constantly being out there, okay? Mm-hmm. That's the question of the day with that. And then you have Caleb Williams, who I said the Steelers were going to draft and did, that rookie running back from Iowa, who will spell him off. And then we have Gainwell as well from the Eagles that we got in free agency. And if you can put Lou Nichols in there, I think Lou Nichols will be a very good asset. I mean, he can catch, he can run, and he had a really good preseason. And I'm hoping I forget what university he came from, but I believe that Lou Nichols would be my guess, the guy, the running back. So, And there's a lot of wide receivers we have with a lot of NFL experience. We brought in Brandon Johnson, Ronald Wood. Some of them guys might be on the bubble, I think. But we'll see. We got a good linebacking group, the outside linebackers, as you know, it's going to be TJ Watt, and it's going to be the edge rushers, Alex Highsmith, if he stays healthy. And then you're going to have also, I believe that the middle linebacking spot where we have Patrick Queen back again for another season. And then you have Peyton Wilson, and we have Mark Bruner, former Steeler tight end who works as a scout for the Steeler. His son is part of that equation as well. But I think Mark Robinson could be on the bubble. He's been with the team for a while. For some strange reason, stinks at linebacker, but a very good special teams player. And there's a lot of guys like that. So the late Craig Wolfley, his brother, went to the Hall of Fame. I forget his first name, went to the Hall of Fame as a special teams player for Arizona for many years. So, there's nothing wrong with being a special teams player and making it in the league. Bill Cowher was a special teams player, our former coach. So, and special teams is important, Ken. A lot of people don't understand. I'm going to tell you who made their living on special teams, and his team was always good, was Frank Beamer from Virginia Tech. He was number 1 in college football for having special teams, and his son went to the NFL, and he was coaching at Virginia Tech, and they've always, and I say always, before the current regime stepped in, had a very good special teams thing, and it's important. Remember when Al Davis drafted Janikowski, and then he drafted Shane Lechner after that, the punter? Yep. And he went and got a long snapper because he said his special teams let him down last year. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, if that's what you think you need, I mean, John Gruden didn't like it, but that's, Al Davis. You know what I mean? You know, right, Joe? That's L. Davis.
Well, and Janikowski
good morning,
more than earned that draft spot over the course of his career.
Yeah, but you know what? He had a good kick. You guys had a good kicker. Janikowski was great. Was a Hall of Fame kicker. So I mean,
that's what I'm saying. He more than earned that first round draft pick. Like with all the 60-yard field goals he kicked.
Oh yeah, it was just
Janikowski. In fact, Janikowski was the leading scorer on the Raiders for quite a few seasons.
Mm-hmm. It was just such a shock though when they did it, because it went so far against conventional wisdom that you don't draft a kicker anywhere near that high. But Al Davis definitely marched to the beat of his own drummer and showed them that he was right on that one.
Yes. But I think of all the players on the Steeler team right now that's really on the bubble, Lou Nichols is probably the one that you probably want to look at, because he'll make the team. He's one of those guys who really didn't look like he was going to make the team, but then had a great preseason. So I think he might be in the equation. We'll see. There's a few guys like Cam Hayward's brother, Connor Hayward, that may be on the bubble. We have a lot of tight ends, although Arthur Smith likes to use tight ends, our offensive coordinator. So we'll see if he stays. Plus, he can play fullback, which is another good thing. If you're a multi-use player,
oh, absolutely.
Coach Mediocre Mike, he likes those kind of guys. Mediocre Mike Tomlin.
I absolutely love your name for freaking Mike Tomlin.
Well, it's the truth.
Mediocre Mike.
What's up there, broski?
Since everyone else doesn't want to. Good morning, broski.
So broski, what were your thoughts there on your team's last preseason game, and what roster bubble guy would you like?
Yeah, I'm curious to see, what kind of moves they make. I think the Bears they got a couple moves in the works before they finalize their 53. What I mean by that is possibly signing another player or two. Me personally, I don't see how they don't look to try to add like a backup veteran center. And there could be a running back or a cornerback they might scoop up as well. Other than that, I mean, they're pretty well set, I feel. I'm not saying their roster's super great, but they have filled a lot of holes. So they at least have a decent starter everywhere, with a lot of spots have decent depth as well. Those positions I named are ones they could use a little more. Terrell Smith, the cornerback, getting hurt. I mean, he was in a straight up battle for a starting job with Tyreek Stevenson, and with Jalen Johnson, their top cornerback being unknown for week 1 and possibly week 2. Cornerback might be a move that they look to make. But overall, hey, the preseason is preseason. My thoughts. I mean, I just hope for no injuries. I really don't even think I just think it's pretty much meaningless for starters. Even when they're out there getting reps. I mean, they're running vanilla offense, playing vanilla defense. It's whatever. They break a sweat, yeah, but it's not too meaningful to me.
And broski, Orlando was wondering if Roschon is a possible cut candidate.
I think there's an outside chance. I don't think he will. So to answer directly, I don't think he will be cut. He was a 4th round pick 2 years ago. So that'll work in his favor. However, me personally, I don't expect the Bears to get anything out of Roschon this season. Like nothing. I have no faith in him.
Really?
He can't stay on the field. He hasn't been on the field, in weeks. Like, I don't know. He's between him and Brisker, they're one touch away from not playing the rest of the season.
Okay, yeah, I was just about to ask. So it's more of an injury thing than talent-wise.
Yes, it is. To me, it's a little of both, but it's more of an injury thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because we've also had our fair share of rumors floating around that supposedly it was announced on X that Keyshawn Nixon was informed by his agent, that's also his uncle, that he's going to be cut by Green Bay. You want to know what the best part is? His agent is Drew Rosenhaus. It's definitely not his uncle, so it's full of shit. Gotta love this time of year.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Drew Rosenhaus, guys, he can really make a mess out of everything. I mean, I know he's one of the top agents.
Yeah.
But a lot of teams don't even want to deal with him. I mean, it's like it's tough dealing with him, and he does get his clients money. I can't deny that, and that's what an agent's for, more or less, So.
And like I've said before, I prefer the time of year when there's literally no news at all, like the month or two leading up to camp, as opposed to like the camp and preseason, because it's just people get so enamored with these like players who just like, oh, but he was the third leading receiver in preseason. It's like, guys, that doesn't mean anything. Like, hate to break it to you. Like guys, like these guys will be lucky to make the practice squad. So let's calm down a little.
Well, you know what, Brusky Bear, I had that same problem. I ranted on my radio show last week, last Saturday here, that the Steeler fans need to sit down and relax and stop being, we lost the preseason game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 17-14, and now we got everybody screaming, fire Mike Tomlin, fire Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator, fire this guy, fire the janitor. I mean, that's unacceptable because it's preseason, as you said, Brosky Bear, and these games are to look at rookies, or to look at undrafted free agents. Maybe take a look at your first team guys if you really want to look at them. Andy Reid and some other coaches, they like to put their starters in there, in the first game, in the second game, and in the third game. And next year or the year after, I think you're only going to have 2 preseason games. What are these people going to do? They're really going to go bananas. So I mean, it happens all the time. It happens here in Pittsburgh with that. So,
yeah, I could relate to that. Like the Bears have a comeback preseason win against the Chiefs, and it's like, but Ben Johnson's still really upset with the team. Why is that? And it's like, guys, well, first of all, it's preseason. Second of all, if you actually want to just look at what the first team did, they look terrible. But like, even that being said, I'm not even going to overreact to how the first team looked because it's preseason. Like, just let's get to the regular season.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it, Brosky. Hey, I got one more thing, so we can let Joe talk a little bit here. I got
frozen right now, so you can make your point as long as you need to.
Here's a good point I want to make, and Ken will back me up on this. Ken remembers Ray Rhodes. Remember him? Okay.
I remember Ray Rhodes.
Philadelphia. Okay. He played the Steelers in a preseason game, and do you know he said we have to win this preseason in order to win the season? And they won the preseason. They were 4-0. But guess what? He stinks as a head coach, and Philly went down the toilet, and so did Green Bay at the time. So, I mean, and then for him to make that statement, we need to win the preseason in order to win the regular season. I'm like, what? What was that, Ray? It was kind of strange, So
yeah, Ralph, and I don't know if you're aware, but I have strong Pennsylvania ties. Like I was born in Pittsburgh, I was raised in the Philly area, moved around a little growing up. So like the worst Eagles coaches I've ever seen were Rich Kotite and Ray Rhodes. I mean, those guys.
Yes.
My God, how bad are those guys?
I love it, Dad. Rich Kotite. Yeah. Who can forget about him? I mean. He's probably in the Hall of Fame of worst head coaches in the NFL.
I'm not kidding. You're not kidding, man. We used to call him Rich Uptight.
Uptight. That's a good one there. Oh, my gosh. Rich Uptight. I'll tell you who else was a bad coach. There were a couple of bad college coaches that came out. Greg Schiano was terrible down at Tampa. Bobby Petrino just left the NFL in the middle of the season. How about Bobby Petrino? Oh, my gosh. Jeez. Nick Saban didn't do well in Miami.
Oh my God! Yeah, he was absolutely freaking terrible as an NFL coach. Joe, with you being frozen like that, you might just need to leave and come back because it doesn't seem like it's fixing.
Oh, okay. I just want Joe to get a little bit of word in here. I don't know how I got
Yeah, he was trying to get his camera to come back in, and it just was messing up for some reason.
I see. So.
Oh, but I will give it to Nick Saban. He was one hell of a college coach, though.
Oh, great college coach. And you know why he quit? Because NIL. He got tired of it. He even came out and said it. I watched a couple interviews. He came out and said it, so. But,
plus he was pretty old. I mean, it was perfect timing for him to leave.
Yes, it was. Yes. And I got to tell you as well, I used to drive a cab I live in Berlin, Maryland now, outside of Ocean City. And when I was in Pittsburgh, I drove a cab for 15 years. And I had some Miami Dolphins fans in my cab, and there were two names that they didn't want to hear. They didn't want to hear Nick Saban, and they didn't want to hear Dave Wannstedt. Those were the two names they didn't want to hear in Miami. So if you even said one word about them guys, oh my gosh, the Miami fans went ballistic. They didn't want to hear those two names. So
I'll tell you what, until Matt Eberfluss was the Bears head coach, I consider Wannstedt the worst Bears head coach I've ever seen. and that's saying something if you think about it. That's saying something if you really want to dig into that.
How did those Dolphins fans feel about Ray Finkel?
There you go. Yeah, there you go. I don't know that. I don't know, Joe. I didn't hear anything about them, so I don't know. So all I know is when I used to pick up Miami fans, take them to the game, they were like, "Don't talk about Wannstedt. Don't talk about Nick Saban." I said, "Okay." So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've known a couple of Miami fans in my day, and they seem to be a little touchy with a lot of subjects.
All right, I got a report here. Speaking of this, from the Steelers website, that Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line coach Pat Meyer is under fire by Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers came on a national podcast, and I'm trying to see which one he was on. Sometimes they say it, sometimes they don't. And this is coming from the Pittsburgh Steelers' actual website reporter. Mm-hmm. And they said that the Steelers have a young and developing offensive line. No kidding. All right. Then it says that has been seen its struggles. Yes, it has. And then it says that Aaron Rodgers said that Pat Meyer, the offensive coach, needs to catch up with everything because he has been the one that has been getting these guys together for the regular season, and Pat Meyer hasn't done his job. So Pat Meyer's not a bad offensive line coach. He really isn't. He came from Carolina years ago. And he's well known. My co-host Smoking Jim Frazier has been involved in football as a scout for many, many years, over 40 years, as a matter of fact. And when he says something, it's usually pretty good. He said Pat Meyer's not a bad coach. So I don't know, and I think I know where Aaron Rodgers is coming from on this. He has a young offensive line with Pittsburgh here, and I hope that they can protect them. I really do, because as everyone says, Ken, Joe, and Broski Bears, everyone says here, we don't know how long Aaron Rodgers is going to last. He could only last half the season, maybe 4 games before he's hurt, 42 years old, and another battle too, Ken, when you ask me about teams, is the quarterback battle. We have Skylar Thompson, and then Will Howard's hurt. So everyone's like, well, what are they going to do with these guys? So I'm hearing Skylar Thompson could go on the practice squad. They're going to keep Will Howard, even though he has his hand as they're going to try to keep Skylar Thompson as an insurance policy in case Aaron Rodgers goes down, Mason Rudolph stinks, and then everyone's thinking Will Howard or Skylar Thompson could be playing out the rest of the season. We'll see what happens. So,
yes, Paul.
Yeah,
Einhorn.
That's a shame about Will Howard because I thought he was the best quarterback in that class, and the type of player he is. I mean, he's NFL ready.
Yes.
So and I often was saying in the offseason, it's going to be Will Howard time sooner rather than later in Pittsburgh.
I was going to say there's a lot worse things that could happen for Will Howard's career than sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for a year, because we've seen Aaron Rodgers goes out of his way to teach some of the quarterbacks that are under him. So you got to hope that's only going to help Will Howard's development.
Also,
Well,
is
I heard he went
anyone
to
here
California
surprised?
with Aaron Rodgers at his house or combine or whatever he calls it down there. And he had one of these summits like Mitch Trubisky did when he came with the Steelers. He had one down in Florida. And unfortunately, Mitch Trubisky's head's all messed up now because of what happened to Dwayne Haskins. Okay. I've been saying that for many, many years now. That accident, I think, screwed up Trubisky's head because Trubisky was not a bad backup quarterback until that incident happened. Because what happened was Haskins had left Trubisky's house to go back to the airport and then ended up having a problem and got hit by a truck on the highway in Florida.
Yeah.
So, but unfortunately, nothing happened. Or fortunately for the Steelers, nothing happened with the Aaron Rodgers thing when he invited everybody down to his Malibu home. And and Will Howard was there. So I mean, that's the thing that goes with that, and the leadership of Aaron Rodgers. But we'll see. Again, here we go. He's running his mouth a little bit like he normally does.
Mhm.
He even complained about St. Vincent College that he had to stay in a room with DK Metcalf and share a bathroom. He complained about that.
Is there anyone that's surprised that Aaron Rodgers has not started a game for Pittsburgh and he's already shitting on staff?
Yeah, no one's surprised, Joe, because I got to tell you, that's just Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
That's
Right.
like me now. Everybody everybody says what I say. They go, "Oh, I don't like what you say," but then they watch it, they listen, and I'm not going to change my style. Aaron Rodgers has his own style, and his style is he's going to open his mouth just like I do all the time, and he's going to say what he has to say, and that's the way it is.
Telling you, man, I'm still surprised the Steelers signed him. I really didn't think it was going to happen, and the only reason I think it's because mediocre Mike is there, and they're trying to do anything possible to save his job. Because you know what, mediocre Mike might actually get canned after the season if it's just a show of a season.
No, Steelers, Brusky, bro, I'm sorry, they don't fire head coaches. What they'll
I know, but
in 2 years, and they'll let him right out of his contract.
I'll tell you what, man. There's a first time for everything. Like the Bears never fired a coach like midseason before until Eberflush. Like, I don't know, man. We'll see. Most likely, you're correct. Like I said, I just think the temperature amongst Steelers fans is on another level right now with this.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And the sad part about all this is Mike Tomlin, or mediocre Mike, of course, has always has a good defense. The problem is his coordinator stinks, and that's Terrell Austin. All right. He was bad in Detroit. He's been bad everywhere he's been. The only reason he's with the Steelers is because mediocre Mike, and that's why he's mediocre, wants these yes men as coaches. He does not want anyone that's better than him, that thinks smarter than him. He got rid of Bruce Arians. He got rid of Todd Haley. He got rid of Dick LeBeau. He got rid of a bunch of good guys that were great coaches. Mike Sullivan got rid of him. Mike Sullivan used to coach Eli Manning, and with the Giants. So I mean, he got rid of a lot of coaches over the years that were very good there, Brosky Bear. And I agree that the fact that it's because of these yes men that none of these players develop. None of these draft picks really develop and everything else because he's got these guys. And let me ask you this. Other than Bruce Arians, other than Dick LeBeau, and little Todd Haley's coaching in the UFL, I believe still. I don't know. But anyway, other than those two guys, have you seen anybody else come out of Tomlin's tree of coaching? None. All right. And I'm talking about developing coaches. Belichick, at least, even though his coaches stunk as head coaches, at least he developed some of them to get other jobs and go. At least he has a tree, and some of these guys.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you what, if you're a legit head coach, it shouldn't take you more than a handful of years to start seeing those coaches develop and branch out. I mean, even as much junk as we talk about the Lions, even look at Dan Campbell, look at Ben Johnson and Glenn. Look at some of the coaches under them even.
Look at Sean McVay.
And another thing Tomlin's never done, Tomlin's never developed a quarterback since he's been there either.
No,
yeah, but you know what? In fairness, though, like to blame all of this on Mike Tomlin, I think is disingenuous. Like, let's be honest. Right. Ben Roethlisberger, even though he played till like 2000 whatever 20 or 17 or whatever, like whenever he finally retired, he hadn't
20.
been playing good. He hadn't been playing good ball for 5 years before that. And the Steelers refused to get rid of Roethlisberger. Like they had a terrible offensive line. Their scouting when it comes to offensive line, those are the guys that need to be fired, in my opinion. Like
I hear that, Joe.
It's not just this year, dude. The Steelers have had we can go back 8 years, and the Steelers have had a terrible offensive line. Like, how long does it take?
But
I guess that.
Yeah, but Joe, what I'd say to that is that just means that he had plenty of time to find Ben Roethlisberger's heir apparent, and he didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like,
is it only Mike Tomlin's? Is it only Mike Tomlin's decision though, or no. Did the Rooney? That's what I'm saying. Did the Rooney family like, hey, we're keeping Ben, and you're gonna have to roll with it, dude? Like,
yeah, but let me just add something, because Tomlin's been there long enough where now I can say, yeah, it's definitely on him. Because how long do you need? Like, you know what I mean? Like, seriously, we're talking like how many years, Ralph? You know what I'm saying? Like 15?
Yes, it's been about 15 years. And let me say this real quick: Mike Tomlin only got involved in what was going on when Dan Snyder come a sniffing, looking for a head coach and a general manager. Mike Tomlin was on that list. Mike Tomlin was even called by Dan Snyder before he sold the team. Remember, he was looking for a coach, and he wanted a real good guy. He was sniffing around Mike Tomlin. The Steelers, not to lose Mike Tomlin, not to lose Omar Khan, because Omar Khan is really good at working with the salary cap. They put these guys, like they gave Mike Tomlin more decision-making as far as the talent goes. Then they gave Omar Khan that GM's job. He's not the GM. Andy Weidel, the assistant GM from Philly, who built that Philly team, is the general manager now. Omar Khan's just there for name purposes. He has a label that says he's a general manager, and they did that to Steelers to keep him there so that they didn't lose him to other teams. They came a sniffing too, all these teams. So Mike Tomlin's involved in some of this stuff, and it's been happening for the last 5 years since Dan Snyder come a sniffing, looking for a head coach and a general manager. And he was questioned about that several times, Mediocre Mike, at press conferences. Are you going to Washington? He said, I'm only worried about my team right now, like most coaches would say, so. But anyway, yeah, he's got 2 years left on his contract, or he has this year and next year. After next year, he'll be 20 years in the league. I think, personally, the Steelers are going to say, you need to step away, or he's going to go on his own. So we'll see what happens. He's trying to break Don Shula's regular season record, and I don't know if he can do it. We'll see.
And Orlando brings up a good question for the panel. Who besides Mike Tomlin do you think is going to be on the hot seat head coach-wise?
All right. Mike McDaniel in Miami, I'm told, is on the hot seat. Let me think. Todd Bowles is always on the hot seat. He could win the Super Bowl and still be on the hot seat.
I don't get that, because I think he's a damn good head coach.
He is. He is a good coach. He came from the Arians tree. So you see, at least Arians developed somebody. You see,
I think Dable is on the hot seat. If the Giants don't improve off of last year's record, I think he's out of there.
Mm-hmm.
He should have been fired, Broski Bear, after last season. Both of them should have been fired, the GM and DeBow with the Giants. I was told Shane Steichen might be on the eggshells, because this new ownership might want a new coach. And this is what, Steichen's third year or something? And Richardson has regressed. That was a bad first-round pick. That was a bust, okay? And, so just like Kenny Pickett was a bust,
Amazing what happens when owners get involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And also a guy who I actually think is a quality head coach, just in a terrible spot, Stefanski in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Speaking of that, Broski, I don't like to bring any of the race topic up in the show or anything like that, but I gotta say it this time. There's people out there trying to say that Stefanski is racist because he is not starting Shedeur Sanders and that he's starting Joe Flacco instead, and he put Shedeur up to fail in that last preseason game. No, the guy's a rookie, and you're going to have up and downs in a rookie career, especially in the preseason.
Yeah. Exactly.
I want to know what the hell did these people expect? Did they think he was going to light the world on fire?
He's a rookie who played in a in the Big 12, right, for a couple seasons, a conference that's probably the fifth best conference, fourth or fifth best conference in college football, and is known for being all offense, no defense. Okay, so he's not NFL ready. He's not. I'm just saying, from a talent perspective, like, throw everything else out. I just don't think talent wise he has what it takes to be an NFL quarterback. So you'll get the screaming A. Smiths, and ESPN is purely political now, and they'll start screaming and hollering. But if you just look at it from a football talent perspective, he's not an NFL quarterback. I'm sorry.
I think if he got developed under the right coach, he could get it if he plays the more cerebral quarterback game. But if he's just relying on pure talent, I got to agree with you. He doesn't have that wow factor.
Yeah, and what plays into that as well is, like, and it is what it is. You have to be able to assume some type of leadership role, being a quarterback, being a franchise quarterback. Now, some are bigger than others. Like, some you still might have, like, that left tackle or that center, or a couple guys on defense who are really more of, like, the actual, like, more, I don't know, you want to say firm kind of team captain role players, but it comes with the territory, man. You have to be a leader. You have to at least lead by example, right? Come on, he's not leading anything by example. He's leading bad example.
What are your thoughts on this, Joe?
Honestly, like, I don't think Shedeur is as bad as some people think, but I don't think he's ready to take over the team right now. But I think he could eventually develop into a starting quarterback if he's given a chance. But his attitude certainly helping anything. Like, he hasn't shown a whole lot of humility, and that's when you're a 5th round draft pick, like, the one thing you should be is humble, right? Like, I think that the league tried to humble him a bit by, making him wait until the 5th round. And I don't know if he can be humbled. I think he just, he's got that Dion ego that won't let him be humbled. But I don't know. Like, I don't think Stefanski is racist for not starting him. I just think he's smart. Flacco, I mean, realistically though, Flacco's not going to make it a whole season. Like, no, I don't see that happening.
Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to make it the whole season either.
So I personally, I could see Shedeur end up starting some games towards the end of the year, and I think that will be good for his development. And I'm not all out on Shedeur. I think that there's a possibility that he could develop into a mid-level starting quarterback. But I think that's his absolute ceiling. Is like, he might crack the top 20. Like,
yeah.
I don't think he's ever going to be a top 10, top 5 guy.
No, I don't either. And then on top of that, guys, and here's something good. Guess who his quarterback's coach is? Bill Musgrave. Remember that name? He coached in Florida, and he's been around college football. Is his quarterback's coach. Bill Musgrave's not a bad coach. Let's see what he does with Shedeur Sanders there. So
I actually like that, because actually when Derek Carr early in his career, he had his best statistical season under Bill Musgrave. Like, his MVP year, or the year that he was like an MVP candidate, I should say, was under Bill Musgrave as his offensive coordinator. So I think that that bodes well if Shedeur actually listens to him. But you were talking about hot seats. Like, I'm going to throw one out there that, like, people might be easy for, but I think Shanahan, if he doesn't do something this season, is on the hot seat. Because there was already rumblings last year. And what did you do? You went and you brought back the same team. Like, I mean, Duke is coming off an injury. You traded Debo. You didn't get rid of McCaffrey. I know you weren't going to get a bag of chips for him because he's been injured and stuff. But, like, your same team that you rolled out last year, hoping for better. And they're another year older, and I just think that relationship has run it.
That's when
To be
it's
honest, I
course
think you had your window. You went to 2 Super Bowls, and this is not even a knock on Shanahan. Like, I think he did a tremendous job in San Francisco, and I think he's earned another job somewhere else. But I just don't. I think his time in San Francisco should come to an end, and I think if the Niners don't perform well this season, which I don't expect them to, Shanahan will be out.
Now,
here's another name I heard: Raheem Morris from Atlanta. He drafted Michael Penix, and we're going into year 3 of him. So
Year
year 2 of Raheem Morris, and now I heard the Blanks are pissed off at him because he drafted Michael Penix. He stuck with that Kirk Cousins contract. Okay, they want winning results here now, and I hear Raheem Morris could be on the hot seat too. I've heard that story, so we'll find out what happens. Rumors fly. You know what it is.
And
I think in that situation, there's a chance Penix could actually save Morris's job. I think Penix is going to be an absolute freaking stud.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted Penix for the Raiders really bad, but the Falcons leapfrog. The Falcons leapfrogged us, dude. Like, if you look, I know about the injury history, but if you watch Penix's college, that dude has an absolute laser, bro. Like, that dude throws lasers 70 yards downfield into a receiver's hands. Like, his arm talent is unmatched in the NFL, in my opinion.
And Joe, he's so far removed from those injuries. Like, he actually used to play like a Mike Vick when he was at Indiana, and he learned those hard lessons in college. Like, he knows, you can't take hits, you can't run and take hits. Like, he figured that out. He's the only college football or NCAA Division I quarterback to throw for back-to-back 4,600 yard plus seasons, back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's got an arm, and guess what? He can still move too. I think he ran like a 4.40. Not that that's what we're focusing on with him, but the guy, very, very underrated athlete as well.
But his arm talent, to me, is unmatched. It's unrivaled in the NFL, dude.
He was my top ranked quarterback in the draft with Jaden Daniels and Caleb and Drake May. Penix was my number 1 guy.
Yeah, Penix. Yeah, exactly. I'm curious to see what's going to happen in Atlanta, but I have heard some rumblings of Raheem Morris. So, but like I said before,
they're not going to start Cousins, are they?
No, I don't know. Oh yeah, tomorrow's cut day. Tomorrow's day, the deadline.
I wonder about that because Ken has been adamant that Kirk Cousins has a shot to unseat Michael Penix for that job. And
I'm just like, when you watch too much quarterback on Netflix.
Yeah.
I mean, he also thinks Mitch Trubisky's a good quarterback. Still, he thinks Mitch Trubisky's a good quarterback, and that Justin Fields is a good quarterback. And that the Bears can make a Super Bowl run this year.
Aaron Glenn, and I know he was trying to be different, Aaron Glenn. I get that. But when you're a brand new head coach and you've never been a head coach before, and you got a veteran like Aaron Rodgers sitting there, instead you go and cut him and bring in a Justin Fields. I get it, 4-2 with the Steelers. I get that. But you know what? I'm not sure Justin Fields will even be able to even do anything with the Jets. And Aaron Glenn could have egg on his face because you just don't get rid of an experienced quarterback when you're the first-year head coach. You don't do that kind of stuff.
Dude, let's put it into perspective with good old Bustin Fields. This guy has never even thrown for 2,600 yards in a season, and he's going into year 5. Going into year 5, right? And this is now his 3rd team. He's never thrown for 2,600 yards a season. So let's see if he can just at least crack that milestone first.
Yeah, and he's never been the man, Rusky Bear. Never been the man until he came to the Steelers because Russell Wilson, and I don't know who the idiotic conditioning coach was for the Steelers that made him pull a sled. Okay, who makes a quarterback pull a sled? Okay, and he hurt Russell Wilson got hurt. He was out for 6 games because of that coach, and I think that coach got fired for making him pull a sled. Okay, and so what had happened was now Justin Fields is a starter. He was 4-2 with the Steelers. Let's see what he does with the Jets, but I think Aaron Glenn's going to have egg on his face. I really believe that to be the case because you don't get rid of an experienced quarterback. Look at Pete Carroll. Joe will back me up. He went and got Geno Smith because he's good with Geno Smith. They have a relationship.
Yeah.
But he went and got an experienced quarterback. Kellen Moore down in New Orleans. I don't know about Carr. I mean, if Carr's not available, who's he have down there?
Carr retired. Now they're starting Shug.
Yes. So now
I tell you what, I do.
dumpster fire right now.
Yeah,
I like
Geno
Shuck.
Smith much better. Yeah, I like Shuck as well. I think the kid's got some serious potential. But yeah, Geno Smith much better quarterback than Justin Fields.
Yes.
I think it's going to be rough. I think it's going to be rough if they start Shook, though. Like, I think he's going to have a really rough season just because they're so depleted, and they're like, you know, they're only going to get more depleted because they still have some contracts that they can't shed until at least next year. So they got these aging players that they're paying top dollar for, and like
and
the Saints are in trouble, man.
Yeah,
the Saints can't even really begin their rebuild until next year at minimum. And so they're in for a rough ride. But I might be an outlier here, but I actually think there's a chance Justin Fields could see, I don't want to say like real success in New York, but I think he might actually prove himself, like as that he could be a starting quarterback. Like they have some very talented offensive players. They have a pretty decent defensive roster. Like, granted, Aaron Glenn is a first-time head coach, but like, I don't know, man. I just feel like Fields is going to do better than he did for the Bears for sure. Like the Jets to me are kind of a mystery in that division. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I don't think they're going to win the division. But I'm not automatically pegging them for the basement either.
Well, you know what? His offensive coordinator is Tanner Engstrand, who used to be with the Detroit Lions. In fact, Ken and Ben Johnson gutted Dan Campbell's staff. Took a lot of his staff away. That's why I say Dan Campbell this year. I want to see what he can do without these guys. That's what I'm interested to find out.
That's a really good point because they lost Ben Johnson. If they would have been able to keep, Tanner, then I think they would have been in a much better spot because I think this Johnny Morton iodized salt guy is a joke, man. But Goff's going to be calling a lot more of the plays himself, I think, this season. But just to get back to Fields real quick, one thing to keep in mind is like, hey, if he's your starter going into the season and you're expecting him to start the whole year, like he's definitely missing games. There's like slim to no chance that like he doesn't miss 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 games. Like, so you need a backup, and I'm not sure who their backup is.
I don't know offhand either.
But he'll be playing this season.
Here, guys, defensive coordinator for the Jets, Steve Wilks. Remember him? He used to coach Arizona.
Absolute trash.
Bill Cowher
he's terrible. Nah, dude, Steve Wilks is terrible. I saw him here in Charlotte for a couple. Oh God, he's been on a 1-year contract for like the last 5 years, and I don't even think he got a job last year.
I don't know much about him, but what Bill Cowher said some good things about him.
Yeah, and Bill Cowher might have got hit in the head a few too many times, but Steve Wilks in San Francisco, they kept him 1 year because their defense went down under him. He went from the Panthers. He was their interim head coach after they fired what's his face from the Colts, Frank Reich. And then he like went to San Fran, lasted 1 season as their DC. They got rid of him because they saw the immediate drop off. Wow, that makes me even think that the Jets are going to be worse than I thought with him at DC. That's amazing.
They got Cameron Davis and Sean Jefferson on their staff too. Sean Jefferson, I don't know much about what he can do, but he's the wide receivers coach. And they also have Cameron Davis as their assistant to the assistant in the movie theater. He's the assistant defensive line coach. You ever watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High? He says, Rat, you're the assistant to the assistant manager at the movie theater. So I always use that term, the assistant to the assistant in the movie theater. So
I'll tell you what, I look at that Buffalo Bills roster. It's very unimpressive to me. It's very unimpressive. I mean, they have one of the best players in the league in Josh Allen. But then I look at the rest of that division. That's a dumpster fire division. Like the Bills are the only competent team in that division.
I think the Patriots are going to turn it around this year.
With Vrabel, that could happen, Ken. Yes, exactly. And he brought in Josh McDonough, I call him, because he was a terrible head coach. I
Hey.
call him Josh McDonough, but he's a good offensive coordinator.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He might be an absolutely terrible head coach, like one of the worst we've seen. Type of guy.
Yeah.
But he's a damn good offensive coordinator in New England.
Oh yeah, yeah, and you know, I always say this, and I use this term: some people can bake a cake, and some people can't. Some coaches can be offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, suck as a head coach. Okay, in college, I've always said this: if you're going to be a head coach in college, two things you need to do: you need to get the right assistants to recruit, and you also need to make sure that you have some X's and O's guys on your staff as well in college. But in the pros, you really, I mean, I'm talking really, if you're a new head coach, you got to go out and get some people. You got to find some people maybe on the couch that are retired. You might want to bring in, you know, some coaches with experience. Aaron Glenn seems to have the experience, but like Broski Bear said, if Steve Wilkes is that bad, and he's only on 1-year contracts, oh my, I feel bad for their defense now, you know.
Yeah, but see, the Jets, like, I don't think that Justin Fields is going to have to carry the team, though. They have Breece Hall. They're going to run the ball.
Oh, Breece Hall.
Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, running back.
He's a good running back. They have Garrett Wilson, so they have at least one legit target for him.
Izzy was never used, and he was a good running back for Pitt. I mean, Izzy Abanikanda, and I've been following his career. He's with Minnesota now, I think. But you know, I thought he should have stayed at school one more year, because I think his draft capital would have went up better than what it was. But they never used Izzy. I mean, it was all Breece Hall, and you know, now Izzy's gone. So you know,
but it's kind of for good reason. Breece Hall is a stud, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Let's go through a little Steve Wilkes history. I have it up really quick. 2018, one and done as the Arizona Cardinals head coach.
I was going to say, that's what I remember him as.
Yes.
Okay, 2019, Browns defensive coordinator. Then he was out of the league for about 2 years. 2022, he got signed as the Carolina Panthers secondary coach. And then that same season, he got promoted to head coach when they fired Frank Reich. 2023, he then went to the 49ers and was their D coordinator, one and done. He was out of the league, did not have a job last year, and now he's the Jets D coordinator. Wow, that's red flag city. Red flag city.
I'm real surprised that Bill Cowher, unless he was just doing it because he's a retired coach, and you know, all them coaches stick up for one another, whether they stink or not. You know, that's just like if you're at a job and you know an employee stinks, but you're in the union, and you say that employee's a good employee because you're in the union.
Exactly.
Either that, or you just happen to like the guy personally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
It's like, hey, that's my buddy. I mean, I know he's not a great coach, but he's a good coach.
Yeah, and
He could be like the godfather to like Steve Wilkes, like second child or something, you know?
Yeah, Frank Reich now is at Stanford, so we'll see what he does at Stanford. Frank Reich.
I was gonna say I didn't mind Frank Reich, but another guy that I think was a better coordinator than a head coach.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was okay with Indianapolis when he was the head coach there, but he made some dumb decisions when he was there. You know, you have to be able to make good decisions as a head coach. And one thing Mike Tomlin's had over many, many years, mediocre Mike, is his time. You know, his what they call clock management hasn't been there for years. He stinks at clock management. That's why I always say you have to have the right assistants to help you with this. And Mike Tomlin chooses to have yes men. So, you know, as long as there's yes men there, that's all they're going to do. Yes, boss. No boss. Yes, boss. No boss. Yes, 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 yes. There you go. You know.
You know what? I think the Patriots are going to actually be a lot better than they were last year. Like
yes,
that division, I agree with Broski. That division is probably one of the worst in football, if we're being honest. But I don't know. Like, I thought New England had some good draft picks, especially Trevion Henderson. I really wanted Trevion Henderson. And I think Drake May, like, there was a lot of questions about him before he actually got to play, but I think he answered those questions. I think Drake May is legit, dude, and I think he's only going to get better, especially if McDaniels doesn't ruin him like he did Derek Carr.
Right, he's the offensive coordinator, and I got to tell you, their offensive line coach is Doug Marrone from Syracuse and Jacksonville and whatnot. Doug Marrone is their offensive line coach, so they're going to have a good offensive line. Doug Marrone takes no jive. He's the kind of guy that's tough, and he'll get in there with them with that. So,
they're at receiver though. I mean, they went and got Stephon Diggs, but like, how much does Diggs really have left in the tank? That's the only thing.
Schuster stays healthy and stays off social media, he might do okay for that. Well, I'm sorry, Schuster don't play for them no more. He plays for Kansas City. You know, Andy
I'm
Reid's
actually going to take this a step further with the Jets. I can't get past this Steve Wilkes thing. Like, him and AG are going to be butting heads in the media. Watch, like they're going to clash big time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, but the question is,
dumpster fire up there.
I was about to say, you're telling me the Jets are going to be a dumpster fire? I never would have believed it.
Yeah, well, they are now. I mean,
but
we don't know
what's going
to happen yet because the season hasn't even started. But we'll
to.
find out.
I'm calling it now. They're going to win like 2 games in a row at some point. Then you're going to have all these like Justin Sexuals coming out of the woodworks. Oh yeah, we love Justin, so good. And then they're going to finish the season like with 5 or 6 wins at the most, and that'll be it.
See, here's the thing though: is Wilkes is not. I'm pretty sure Wilkes is the one designing and running the defensive scheme. Like Aaron Glenn was a defensive coordinator. I'm pretty sure he got Wilkes to be like, look, you're going to run my scheme, and like, so I think that makes a difference. Like,
but that's going to be part of the problem because Wilkes is a 2-time head coach, and he's been on different teams, and he's been you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I just think it's going to be a clash of egos, and I don't think it's going to work out well. I expect Wilkes to get canned after this year.
That's a fair assessment.
The 1 year, no wonder, huh, Brusky Bear? The 1 year, no wonder.
I don't know, man. I like. Maybe part of me just wants to root for Justin Fields, but I kind of feel like there's enough talent around him that you know he should be able to. If he's ever going to prove it, he has a good opportunity to prove it now.
Yeah, because what I will say that's working in his favor is he has the receiver there, Garrett
Wilson. Yeah.
Yep. He used to be his college quarterback, so you know they already have some kind of chemistry, and that should help him at least start to get his bearings there in New York. Now it's just can he improve upon what he has shown in the past with the Steelers and with the Bears.
But think about this. So okay, they have a good. They should have a good O-line. They have a legit number 1 receiver, a legit number 1 running back, but they also have that Tanner, whatever his last name is, coming over from Detroit, who was like Ben Johnson understudy, right? That's a highly complicated offense that Justin Fields trying to grasp that offense. Yeah, right. Good luck. Like, honestly, man, he's going to look like a deer in the headlights out there.
Last year, but of course, Arthur Smith's offense isn't that hard. But I keep hearing stories that it is. So I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like Ben Johnson's offense confirmed. It is a very, very intricate, complicated offense. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And I know what that's all about because years ago, I don't know if a lot of you remember Bubby Brister, who used to play for the Steelers at one time back in the late 80s. All right. So
I wasn't alive yet.
I know that, kid. But I'm just saying, let me go back a little bit here. Bubby Brister was his offensive coordinator was Tom Moore, who is 86 years old and still in the league with Tampa Bay. All right. I think he's one of those assistants to the assistants in the movie theater. But anyway, Tom Moore was his offensive coordinator, and his offense was simple. But when Joe Walton came in as the offensive coordinator, former Jets coach and friend of Chuck Knowles, his offense was complicated, supposedly, and Bubby didn't understand it. And then, too, Tom Moore and Bubby used to go have beers or go to a restaurant or something after the game, Walton was a coach, and he had the coach-player relationship, not the, I'm going to be your father or something like that. He didn't have that kind of a relationship. Ken Wisenhunt was like that with Roethlisberger. Him and Roethlisberger didn't get along because Roethlisberger liked Bruce Arians because they used to break bread together, and they still break bread together. So what I'm saying is, guys, sometimes quarterbacks like that get into that. Let's see where Justin Fields goes with this relationship with the offensive coordinator. Is it going to be after the game's over, we're going to have a hot dog? Or is it going to be, well, screw you, I'm going home? You know what I mean? I'm your coach, you're the player. Or is it going to be like a friendship kind of thing or whatever,
I also don't think that you have to give Justin Fields the whole offense right away. Like,
right.
I think you should tailor your scheme to what he does well. I would definitely be running the ball a lot with Breece Hall, but I would also have some design quarterback runs for Fields, like some RPO stuff.
Yep.
And I would also, Justin Fields can throw a nice deep ball, so I would take advantage of that too. I would try to top off at least a couple times a game, take a couple shots.
Yeah, he can. Like I said, he led the Steelers 4-2, and I have no problems with Justin Fields. He seemed like he knew what he was doing, but that's Arthur Smith's offense. Let's see what this guy does here with the Jets. So.
Oh yeah, it just comes down to the simple thing: has Justin Fields finally learned how to read a defense? Because that was the major knock on him, massively in Chicago, and you even saw it a bit in Pittsburgh too.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I was going to say, or a sentence.
There you go. They have to do what we call here. A lot of the media in Pittsburgh used to say sample size. Sample size. We're gonna give them a sample size. That's all they say on the radio up there. Sample size. So.
I don't know, man. I feel like the Jets. I don't automatically pick them for the basement. Like, I think there's a very real chance. I think there's a very real chance Miami ends up in the basement.
Yes. Buffalo is suspect too. We just talked about that.
Yeah, but they're the best of the worst in that division. Like, I think Buffalo almost wins that division by default. Like, I think the only team that could even possibly give them a run is going to be New England.
We'll see what Houston does. So, Jacksonville, I don't know what Liam Cohen's capable of. And he's got Travis Hunter there. And this is how many years of Trevor Lawrence already? We're into, about 4 or 5 years maybe with him?
Yeah, somewhere right around there.
Yeah, it's time for him. Well, I know he has stepped up. He has great yardage percentage and all that over the years, but it's just a rotation of coaches. And maybe now with Liam Cohen there, an offensive mind, maybe we can get something done. I thought Doug Peterson was really going to do a good job there, and he laid an egg. Oh my gosh,
Yeah, Jacksonville has a chance to be really good or really bad.
Yep, yeah. I will 100% agree with you there, Joe. I've said almost I won't say all offseason, but for most of the offseason, they're the quagmire of the NFL. It's going to be a massive boom or bust. But on that note, we have unfortunately reached that time. We want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you guys that took your time to comment. I want to thank the guys that came on the panel here with me today, Joe, Broski Bear, and our special guest, Ralph Williams. Ralph, why don't you shout out your channel before we sign off?
Sure. I'm on YouTube, Ralph Williams, RW Media. And I'm on Facebook, Twitter X. Please follow me on Twitter X platform. I need 25 to reach 400. So please help me out with that. I'd like to get that by the end of the year, but if I get it sooner, that's good for me. And also Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm also on Tumblr. And I also have 2 radio shows up in Pittsburgh on Saturday. One's at 8 a.m. in the morning on 1250 a.m. The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial. It's called the Ralph Williams Tony Moreno Show. We talk a lot of City of Pittsburgh politics. And then later on in the afternoon at 2 p.m., the Sports Corner Radio Show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, scout extraordinaire. And he used to work for the Steelers. And also Claudia Rosano, the legend, and Luther Dupree from Steel Sports World.
Before we go, real quick, just broke. Terry McLaurin has reached a deal with the Commanders.
Yes, I heard about that. Yes, I have a guy that I'm friends with on Amped Up Sports that covers the Commanders, and he told me. So,
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Have
welcome,
yourselves a wonderful rest of
Joe,
your day.
Russ, here, all three of you have a great day.
And as always, it's go, pack, go.
Caleb's your father.